Italy has a parliamentary republic with a ceremonial president and an executive prime minister who holds the executive power. Italy has gone through various forms of leadership from monarchs in 1861 to 1946, then democratic republic, with a president as head of state and a prime minister as head of government since 1946. Today we are going to cover all the presidents and prime ministers from 1946 to present. Enrico de Nicola became the first president after the transition from 1946 to 1948. Luigi Einaudi became the second president from 1948 to 1955. He was an economist, focused on post-war recovery. Giovanni Gronchi became the third president and ruled from 1955 to 1962. Antonio Segni was the fourth president from 1962 to 1964. He later resigned due to health issues. Giuseppe Saragat was the fifth president of Italy from 1964 to 1971. Giovanni Leone became the sixth president from 1971 to 1978. He later resigned due to scandals. Sandro Pertini became president from 1978 to 1985. He was a popular and charismatic leader. Francesco Cossiga became the eighth president from 1985 to 1992. He is known for his political transparency. Oscar Luigi Scalfaro became the ninth president of Italy and ruled from 1992 to 1999. Carlo Azeglio Ciampi became the 10th president of Italy from 1999 to 2000. Giorgio Napolitano became the first president to rule for 2 terms from 2006 to 2015. Sergio Mattarella is the current president from the year 2015. Alcide de Gasperi from 1946 to 1953. He was a founding father of the Italian Republic. De Gasperi led post-war reconstruction and was instrumental in Italy's integration into the European community. Giuseppe Pella from 1953 to 1954. His short tenure focused on stabilizing the economy and addressing tensions over the status of Trieste. Amintore Fanfani served multiple terms, which are 1954, then from 1958 to 1959, then from 1960 to 1963, then from 1982 to 1983, and in 1987, in his term, he promoted economic development and social reforms. Mario Scelba from 1954 to 1955. He is known for his firm stance against domestic terrorism and efforts to modernize the police force. Antonio Segni from 1955 to 1957 and from 1959 to 1960. He oversaw Italy's entry into the United Nations in 1955 and signed the Treaty of Rome in 1957, leading to the creation of the European Economic Community. Adun Zoli from 1957 to 1958. His government focused on education reforms and addressing social issues. Fernando Tambroni ruled briefly in 1960. His brief tenure was marked by political instability and public protests against his reliance on neo-fascist support. Giovanni Leone served in 1963 and 1968. Served as a transitional figure during periods of political crisis. Aldo Moro served in 1963 to 1968, then from 1974 to to 1976. He was a key figure in Italian politics. Moro promoted the opening to the left, integrating socialist parties into the government. Giulio Andreotti from 1972 to 1973, then from 1976 to 1979, and from 1989 to 1992. One of Italy's most prominent politicians, Andreotti's terms were marked by economic challenges and political controversies. Mariano Rumor from 1968 to 1970 and 1973 to 1974. He focused on social policies and navigating economic difficulties during the 1970s. Emilio Colombo from 1970 to 1972. His administration dealt with economic stabilization and social reforms. Francesco Cossiga from 1979 to 1980 faced challenges related to domestic terrorism and economic issues. Arnaldo Forlani from 1980 to 1981. His government was marked by efforts to combat inflation and promote economic growth. Giovanni Spadolini from 1981 to 1982. He was the first non-Christian Democrat prime minister, and he focused on economic reforms. Bettino Craxi from 1983 to 1987. As the first socialist prime minister, Craxi implemented significant economic reforms and faced corruption scandals. Ciriaco de Mita from 1988 to 1989. His tenure focused on internal party reforms and economic challenges. Giuliano Amato from 1992 to 1993, and from 2000 to 2001, he implemented austerity measures to address economic crises and worked on institutional reforms. Carlo Azeglio Ciampi from 1993 to 1994. He was a former central banker. He worked to stabilize Italy's economy and prepare for European monetary integration. Silvio Berlusconi from 1994 to 1995, then from 2001 to 2006, and from 2008 to 2011, he was a media magnate. Berlusconi's terms were marked by economic reforms, legal controversies, and significant political influence. Lamberto Dini from 1995 to 1996. He led a technocratic government focusing on pension reforms and economic stabilization. Romano Prodi from 1996 to 1998, then from 2006 to 2008. He was an economist who led Italy into the Eurozone and later served as president of the European Commission. Massimo D'Alema from 1998 to 2000, the first former communist to become prime minister. He supported NATO intervention in Kosovo and implemented domestic reforms. Mario Monti from 2011 to 2013, he was an economist who led a technocratic government, implementing austerity measures to address the European debt crisis. Enrico Letta from 2013 to 2014. He led a grand coalition government focusing on economic recovery and institutional reforms. Matteo Renzi from 2014 to 2016. At 39, Italy's youngest prime minister, he implemented labor market reforms and legalized same-sex civil unions. Paolo Gentiloni from 2016 to 2018. He focused on immigration policies and economic growth, and later became European Commissioner for Economy. Giuseppe Conte from 2018 to 2021. He led coalition governments during significant events like the COVID-19 pandemic, implementing measures to combat the crisis. Mario Draghi from 2021 to 2022. He was the former president of the European Central Bank, and he led a national unity government focusing on economic recovery and managing the pandemic. Giorgia Meloni, serving from 2022 He is a leader of the Brothers of Italy party. She is the first woman to serve as Italy's prime minister, focusing on conservative policies and economic reforms.